Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Google I/O. As you may have heard, AI is having a very busy year. So we've got lots to talk about. Let's get started. With a much more powerful generative model, we are taking the next step in Gmail with Help Me Write. Let's say you got this email that your flight was canceled. The airline has sent a voucher, but what you really want is a full refund. You could reply and use Help Me Write. Just type in the prompt of what you want, an email to ask for a full refund, hit create, and a full draft appears. As you can see, it conveniently pulled in flight details from the previous email. Maybe you want to refine it further. In this case, a more elaborate email might increase the chances of getting the refund. Help Me Write will start rolling out as part of our Workspace updates. Imagine if you could see your whole trip in advance. With Immersive View for routes, now you can, whether you're walking, cycling, or driving. Let me show you what I mean. Say I'm in New York City and I want to go on a bike ride. Maps has given me a couple of options close to where I am. I like the one on the waterfront, so let's go with that. Looks scenic. And I want to get a feel for it first. Click on Immersive View for routes, and it's an entirely new way to look at my journey. I can zoom in to get an incredible bird's eye view of the ride. And as we turn, we get onto a great bike path. You can also check today's air quality. Looks like AQI is 43, pretty good. And if I want to check traffic and weather and see how they might change over the next few hours, I can do that. Looks like it's going to pour later, so maybe I want to get going now. Immersive View for routes will begin to roll out over the summer and launch in 15 cities by the end of the year, including London, New York, Tokyo, and San Francisco. You can do much more with a new experience called Magic Editor. Let's have a look. Say you're on a hike and you stop to take a photo in front of a waterfall. You wish you had taken your bag off for the photo, so let's go ahead and remove that bag strap. The photo feels a bit dark, so you can improve the lighting. And maybe you want to even get rid of some clouds to make it feel as sunny as you remember it. Looking even closer, you wish you had posed so it looks like you're really catching the water in your hand. No problem. You can adjust that. This is a great photo, but as a parent, you always want your kid at the center of it all. And it looks like the balloons got cut off in this one. So you can go ahead and reposition the birthday boy. Magic Editor automatically recreates parts of the bench and balloons that were not captured in the original shot. As a finishing touch, you can punch up the sky. It changes the lighting in the rest of the photo so the edit feels consistent. We are excited to roll out Magic Editor in Google Photos later this year. Palm 2 builds on our fundamental research and our latest infrastructure. It's highly capable at a wide range of tasks and easy to deploy. Gecko is so lightweight that it can work on mobile devices, fast enough for great interactive applications on device, even when offline. Combined with powerful coding capabilities, Palm 2 can also help developers collaborating around the world. Let's say you're working with a colleague in Seoul and you're debugging code. You can ask it to fix a bug and help out your teammate by adding comments in Korean to the code. It first recognizes the code is recursive, suggests a fix, and even explains the reasoning behind the fix. And as you can see, it added comments in Korean, just like you asked. We recently released SecPalm, a version of Palm 2 fine-tuned for security use cases. It uses AI to better detect malicious scripts and can help security experts understand and resolve threats. Another example is MedPalm 2. In this case, it's fine-tuned on medical knowledge. This fine-tuning achieved a 9x reduction in inaccurate reasoning when compared to the model, approaching the performance of clinician experts who answered the same set of questions. In fact, MedPalm 2 was the first language model to perform at expert level on medical licensing exam-style questions and is currently the state of the art.
As you collaborate with Bard, you'll be able to tap into services from Google and extensions with partners to let you do things never before possible. In the next few weeks, Bard will become more visual, both in its responses and your prompts. So, if you ask, what are some must-see sites in New Orleans? Bard's going to use Google Search and the Knowledge Graph to find the most relevant images. So, I'm thinking about colleges, but I'm not sure what I want to focus on. I'm into video games, and what kinds of programs might be interesting? Okay, this is a helpful head start. Animation looks pretty interesting. Now I could ask, help me find colleges with animation programs in Pennsylvania. Okay, great, that's a good list of schools. Now to see where these are, I might now say, show these on a map. Here, Bard's going to use Google Maps to visualize where the schools are. Now let's start organizing things a bit. Show these options as a table. Nice, structured and organized, but there's more I want to know. Add a column showing whether they're public or private schools. Let's move this to Google Sheets so my family can jump in later to help me with my search. With Adobe Firefly, you'll be able to generate completely new images from your imagination right in Bard. Make an image of a unicorn and a cake at a kid's party. Okay, now Bard is working with Firefly to bring what I imagined to life. So today, we are removing the waitlist and opening up Bard to over 180 countries and territories. Beyond English, starting today, you'll be able to talk to Bard in Japanese and Korean. And we're pleased to share that we're on track to support 40 languages soon.
Say you run a fashion boutique and need to hire a textile designer. To get started, you enter just a few words as a prompt. Senior level job description for textile designer. Docs will take that prompt, send it to our PaLM 2-based model, and let's see what I got back. Not bad. With just 7 words, the model came back with a good starting point, written out really nicely for me. In a new sheet, simply type something like client and pet roster for a dog walking business with rates, and hit create. Sheet sends this input to a fine-tuned model that we've been training with all sorts of sheet-specific use cases. The model figured out what you might need. The generated table has things like the dog's name, client info, notes, etc. Maybe this deck could have more pizzazz. Let's pick one of the slides and use the poem on there as a prompt for image generation. Mom loves her pizza, cheesy and true, while Dad's favorite treat is a warm pot of fondue. Let's hit create and see what it comes up with. Behind the scenes, that quote is sent as an input to our text-to-image models, and we know it's unlikely that the user will be happy with just one option, so we generate about 6 to 8 images so that you have the ability to choose and refine. Let's change the style to photography and give it a whirl. Just as weird, but it works for me. Later this year, all of this will be generally available to business and consumer workspace users via a new service called Duet AI for Workspace.
Now imagine that I'm a student taking a computer science history class. I'll open up Tailwind, and I can quickly see in Google Drive all my different notes and assignments and readings. I can insert them. And what'll happen when Tailwind loads up, and it instantly creates a study guide on the right to give me bearings. You can see it's pulling out key concepts and questions grounded in the materials that I've given it. Now, I can come over here and quickly change it to go across all the different sources and type something like create glossary for Hopper. And what's going to happen behind the scenes is it'll automatically compile a glossary associated with all the different notes and articles relating to Grace Hopper, the computer science history pioneer. Look at this, Flowmatic, COBOL, compiler, all created. based on my notes. But my favorite part is it shows its work. You can see the citations here. When I hover over, here's something from my class notes. Here's something from an article the teacher assigned. It's all right here, grounded in my sources. It's not just for students. It's helpful for anyone synthesizing information from many different sources that you choose, like writers researching an article, or analysts going through earnings calls, or even lawyers preparing for a case.
Our field-defining research is helping scientists make bold advances in many scientific fields. Take, for example, Google DeepMind's AlphaFold, which can accurately predict the 3D shapes of 200 million proteins. That's nearly all the catalog proteins known to science. AlphaFold gave us the equivalent of nearly 400 million years of progress in just weeks. One area that is top of mind for us is misinformation. Generative AI makes it easier than ever to create new content, but it also raises additional questions about its trustworthiness. Have you come across a photo on a website or one shared by a friend with very little context, like this one at the moon landing, and found yourself wondering, is this reliable? In the coming months, we're adding 2 new ways for people to evaluate images. First, with our About This Image tool in Google Search, you'll be able to see important information such as when and where similar images may have first appeared, where else the image has been seen online, including news, fact-checking, and social sites. All this providing you with helpful context to determine if it's reliable. Later this year, you'll also be able to use it if you search for an image or screenshot using Google Lens, or when you're on websites in Chrome. As we begin to roll out the generative image capabilities, like Sundar mentioned, we will ensure that every one of our AI-generated images has metadata, a markup in the original file to give you context if you come across it outside of our platforms. Not only that, creators and publishers will be able to add similar metadata, so you'll be able to see a label in images in Google Search marking them as AI-generated.